Hey everyone, so we're here to talk fringe on the Tide and Texture and Coastal Drift wraps from the Summer Mystery Make-Along. My shawls, my wraps, are not blocked. When you go to add your fringes, I highly recommend that you do have them blocked. It is very difficult to block your shawls when you already have the fringe on. I am going to just add a few here to record so you can see how to do this, and then I'm going to stop and block them because it's messy to try and wet block something that has dozens and dozens of little wet strings on there. So I'm going to be using one of my toddler's books to measure my yarn. So I love you, Stinky Face. So I use that for this. All you need, it doesn't matter what you're using, a household item, it's a book, piece of cardboard, a fancy measuring tool, whatever you're using, the only purpose it's serving is to make sure that everything is the same length. So I already cut a couple pieces of this. I'm gonna go ahead and measure a few pieces of husk too, because we have, oh, I got a blob of yarn here. Just gonna do a few because, like I said, I'm not gonna do that many fringe here because I want to block my shawl before I actually do this. But baby's asleep and you never know when you're gonna get time, so we are taking advantage of nap time. This is really hard to cut when I'm leaning over, so excuse me. I'm taking this book out of frame to cut the fringe off of it. Usually I use my sewing scissors, but I couldn't find them fast enough. So, all right, so there we go. So we're gonna put I Love You Stinky Face aside. So here we go. We've got two colors right here because, let's see, you can't even see your frame. Here we go. We're gonna work with just this section of the shawl, the wraps right now. All right, I'm gonna get that out of the way. So, knit versus crochet, a little different. You're gonna need a crochet hook for both of them here. Makes your life a little easier. Whichever one you're using, to get the fringe so that you have this knotted part on top versus this looped over part. I have the right side of the shawl facing up, wrap, shawl, whatever. I'm gonna keep saying shawl. I'm gonna forget it's a wrap. I have the right side facing up. So to get this knotted part on top, you would be inserting the crochet hook from the underside to the top. Okay, that's with the right side facing up. You're gonna double over that length of yarn, catch it with your crochet hook, pull it through, loop it, you see, loop it like that, and you just pull it tight. Now you've got, see, I don't know if you can even see this here. You've got that, let's get these other strings out of the way. So you've got two. Okay, so on the other side looks like this, where it's got like the two wraps there. Okay, again, so I'm going through those loops there from our chain. This is the crochet, like I said. I'm gonna take another one of these. So I'm using whatever the color fringe I'm using to correspond to whatever the yarn color is in that section. So as we go along, we're gonna change fringe color. And again, I'm going wrong side to right side. So however you're holding your shawl, I'm going wrong side to right side. Now, I'm going more or less in every chain or every stitch. You can place them closer together. You can do two at a time if you want to have a thicker. There's really no wrong way or right way. You guys are probably sick of me saying to do it however you want. So you could do it like this. I'm just showing you options here. This is what this is all about. This is options. So this is what it looks like if you want to do double. Obviously this is going to take twice as much yarn, but it's going to be twice as much drama. So the choice is yours. If you want less or more. I personally tend to like more, but again, that's up to you. There is a lot of, okay, we're really far to the bottom of this, sorry. I tend to like more. There is a lot of fringe. So if you do the double like this, you can space them out slightly more. If you do the single, I would place them closer together. But if you do the double, you are going to be cutting probably a lot more. I sort of kind of give you a rough estimate in the pattern of how many to cut. I don't know if you're really going to even count. Honestly, it's probably easier to just wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and then attach them to the wrap and wrap and wrap and attach them to the wrap than it is to count that many. So I would just probably not bother counting, but yeah. So you're gonna do there. So then on the side over here, again, so I'm gonna show you single because it's just easier to see. Even though, like I said, I like the look of the double, but it's just easier to see with a single strand here. So here, right, on the garter stitch version for the knit, this section, this stripe of husk, you're only gonna be able to fit one fringe, whether it's a doubled or a singled fringe. On the crochet, you're gonna be able to put it in two spots. You can go here and here, right? So you've got two spots that you can put it. So since I'm already here, and I'm gonna take all these out before I block my shawl wrap. I told you I wasn't gonna remember that. So then I would be putting the husk in all these areas, and then I'm gonna put arrow here, and then as I go down the wrap, I'm gonna transition. I'm gonna put the Neptune color here, and then go back and tusk. I don't have any Neptune right here with me right now. So that's that for the crochet one. Now the knitted version is the same concept where the knitted version, so the crocheted version I crocheted over my ends. So knitted version I didn't. So we've got this. So knitters, you can work these into your fringes so you don't have to weave them in, and you don't have to cut extra fringe for that area. So that's what I'm gonna do. So when I do my husk fringe for here, I'm going to knot this into that husk and knot this one into this husk. All right, so again, I'm gonna show with a single strand because it's easier to see. So again, you're gonna go wrong side to right side. So whichever way you're holding your wrap, upside down, right side up. Okay, on this edge, go down here, like so. Same thing. Just showing you where you're putting it, what stitch. Okay, and then I would do another one. I'm not gonna knot it because I'm gonna have to unknot all these. I'm gonna go through here, and then I'm gonna go through here. And like I said, I'm gonna double all these up. Now for the garter stitch section, get this out of the way, I'm going to go through, okay, this is where it's gonna get a little trickier. So for the knitters, I am going to, you can decide how you want to do this. You can go through here and just do the edges, right? You can kind of offset between the two. right? This is easier. This is the easiest way to do it. This is how I usually do it in garter stitch. I'll go between. Let's just do a couple. So you kind of see what this looks like over garter stitch. It's gonna be a pain in the neck for me to take out. All right, what did I do with husk? Where'd it go? Hey. I don't know where I put the fringe. Okay. There we go. I might have to cut more. Nope. Oh, there it is. Okay. Some husk in here. And again, you can decide whether you want to double these up or do them single. Doubled will give a much fuller, more dramatic look. Like I said, that's what I like to do. If you're using a thicker yarn, then the single is enough. But with this thinner yarn, single tends to look a little limp. But that's just an opinion. There is going to be a lot of them, like I said. So if you don't want that fullness, go with the lighter. So this is what that would look like if you went between. Go with another one. I hope if I could see. I'm looking at this from an angle since I've got the camera above it. Okay, and then you can see now our loops, and again, if they're doubled, there's going to be even fuller here. We're covering up this side edge where all this yarn is getting carried up. So see where I was carrying my yarn here? You've got loops over it now. So you can do that. The other way to do it, that's a little bit more pain in the neck, is to go into the garter stitch ridge, and it puts the fringe exactly in that garter stitch, in line with the garter stitch. That's fiddly, and I find that it takes way too much time. But if you want to sit here and jiggle with your stitches, you can get your crochet hook in line. There you go, in line with your garter stitch, and that'll put your fringe actually in line with that. It just depends on how much you care about it being exactly lined up with your stripe. So that's your two sections, and that's kind of the two types of stitches that you're going to find on your shawl: the knitted edge and the garter stitch. So for my knit, I am not putting fringe on this side. I only am doing the long edge. So the knit shawl is fringed on one edge, one long edge, and the crocheted shawl is fringed on three edges: the short edge and the long edge. So the crochet has a lot more fringe on it. The reason I did that is the knitted one I finished off on both sides with this half twisted rib. Due to the fact that knitting will curl, the crochet doesn't have that, so we don't have that border on the end. We just have, it starts right immediately with the stitch pattern, which makes it easier to go into, this is upside down, which makes it easier to go right into adding the fringe on the edge. That being said, you can add fringe onto this if you like the look of that. So it's totally up to you. But again, I am going to now sit here and pick all these fringe off that I just showed you, because I do also highly recommend that you wet block these to open up the stitches to their full potential. So what I'm going to be doing is soaking these both in the bathtub, getting them nice and wet, and then squeezing them out gently and giving them a nice thwack out over the deck so that they can stretch out. And then I'll be pinning them down on a blocking board. If you don't have a blocking board, you can stretch them out on a towel or anything that's a flat surface, a table, your floor, anywhere they won't get stepped on overnight for them to dry. But definitely, I know it's sort of not everybody's favorite thing to do to block them out, but it really, it's worth it. So yeah, that's it. So once you get them blocked and these fringes on, you're good to go. Wear it around. I hope you wear it often or gift it, whatever your intentions are. I hope you had fun making your either Tide and Texture or Coastal Drift wraps. And I hope I see you again at some point for another make along or design. See you later. Bye.